Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I actually admire that you can actually be this fake, and like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. You're the scum of the earth.
Don't doubt me, I couldn't do it. The odds that I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Lebanon, headshot, dead. That's it.
All right, fellas, we are back again with another one. This is it. We've come to the finale. We are here. We are ready to talk about UFC 300 main card. If you've watched the previous two videos, we greatly appreciate you tuning in. Thank you to everyone who's made it this far and has decided to watch it. Or if this is your first video for this loop, make sure you go back and watch the early prelim and the prelim video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the same things for all of our social media accounts. We're rapidly growing. We got fight interviews coming out weekly. We're booked up for the whole month of April, which was wild to us. This is the first time since we started this podcast where we can officially say like a whole month of ours has been taken up, from fighter interviews to recaps to reviews. Like, we got a lot on our plate, boys, but you know, with guys like you and all of us grinding, you know, we can make whatever the fuck we want to happen. So again, I want to start by saying I appreciate both of y'all for doing what we're doing. We're going to be something one day, boys. And if you're listening now, keep on grinding with us. And I promise you, whatever we say is going to fucking happen. So let's get right into it, man. We're here, UFC 300 main card, the moment everyone's been waiting for to kick off the main card. This one got a lot of controversy for kicking off the main card, but in my opinion, it's great. You know, Bo Nickal, big name, probably one of the biggest names coming up in the sport right now. Has a lot of backing. You know, he was a three-time national champion wrestler from Penn State. Made his way into the UFC. 5-0 in March. Yeah, 5-0 in his career now, and now he's starting to get bigger and bigger competition, as he should. And he's going to kick off the main card against Cody Brundage. A lot of people are doubting Bo Nickal's ability. They're doubting his skill. They're saying he hasn't had enough fight time to really make a point. XYZ. Cody Brundage could potentially knock him out. Fair points to be made, but these fuckers are idiots. If you never watched a single bit of wrestling in your life, you'll know that this guy's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever grace the mat. And his ability to transition into martial arts already has started off on a good note. Cody's not going to be able to stop a takedown. He's not going to be able to do it, man. I'm telling you, if Bo can get him in any sort of down position, it's over. That's it. He's not going to get up. He's not going to be able to get away. Cody's best chance of winning is by knocking him out, and that is it. He's not winning a decision. This fight will not go to the distance. And that's just my opinion. I don't think Bo's going to really get tested. You're going to have to put this guy up against someone who is just as an elite of a wrestler, or almost as an elite of a wrestler as he is, and can defend a takedown. I just don't know if Cody's going to be able to do that.
Right.
What about you boys? Anything you got to say about that? Because I feel like we're all on the same page on that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that disagreed with him getting bumped up to the main card over fighters like Yuri, or even the crotch sniffing lovers like Aljamain Sterling. He has Aljo has the weirdest fan base in the world. Dude's the biggest loser in the UFC, but people think that he deserves to, I don't know, like main event UFC 300 or something. Dude's a fucking dork. But whatever. So Bo Nickal on the main event, probably the best decision the UFC could have made. Leave Aljo, leave Yuri's fight on the prelims. I think Bo Nickal has a bigger name. He's the hottest prospect the UFC's had in a while. I just think people care more to watch his fight and watch what he's going to do. His average fight time in his professional MMA career is 1 minute and 22 seconds.
That's wild.
That's his average fight time, is 1 minute. I agree with you on the grappling. I mean, I think he dominates Cody Brundage. I don't see this being close. He's by far the biggest favorite on this card. I saw minus 2,400 or something at one point. I think it's 6-0. Bo Nickal 6-0. Clear as day. I mean, you talked about his introduction into MMA and how kind of smooth he's made that transition. It's because he's done it the right way. Obviously, he's a world-class wrestler, multiple-time collegiate national champion out of Penn State. We obviously just saw recently how dominant that school is for wrestling and the kind of product that they produce. It's second to none. And then you have Bo Nickal transitioning out of Happy Valley and training for his fight camps at American Top Team in South Florida, where some of the best fighters in UFC have come from, right? Yep. So, he's going to be ready for this. His striking looks great, looks better than I think people expected it to, for him to be this early on in his career. And yeah, I mean, this is an easy dub, I think, for Bo Nickal. I just think it's going to, I don't think it gets out of the first round. I don't. I think Bo dominates, and it doesn't get out of the first round. If you think otherwise and you want to argue about it, argue in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. You're all stupid if you think that Bo Nickal doesn't win this fight easily and doesn't deserve to be on the main card. If you think Aljo should be on the main card instead, you're also just an idiot. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a pussy. I'm an idiot. I'm an Aljo fan. Do that every night until you convince yourself to do something different with your life because you're a loser. But yeah, I mean, I think this is easy money. Bo Nickal by however the fuck he wants to finish it, quick as hell. That average fight time might even go down. It might go less than a minute. I'm gonna look at the odds for that. And yeah, whatever.
Bo Nickal by prison rape. I run that. I'm with you. I'm with it, man.
Oh, one thing I will say about Bo though is nasty. We've been watching wrestling for a very long time, so we kind of know what the atmosphere can be like. This guy's nowhere short of knowing what the limelight is, the big stage, things like that. I mean, you're talking about a sold-out Penn State arena for every single match that this guy has wrestled in his whole entire wrestling career. You're talking about collegiate national championship, sold out fucking stadiums.
Yeah, those shows
this guy's
are
no short of the
too.
limelight. So, like, sold out UFC 300, he's not going to have the pressure like people think other people have from being in front of big crowds. He's used to it. This is what he's been doing his whole entire, national championship career plus his UFC career. So.
Well, and his second fight in the UFC, he was on the main card and out of the prelims. Excluding his Dana White Contender Series fights
on the return of John Jones.
Yeah, when he got into the UFC officially outside of the Contender Series, he fought once, and then his second fight, he was on the main card out of the prelims already. I mean, he's been on the big stage longer than any other prospect. I mean, we've never seen anything like this kind of rise. The hype is real. It speaks to his talent level, just how good he is.
It's great for the sport, man.
Back to what he was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for the sport. He's bringing in a certain type of crowd that normally doesn't watch the UFC, but they've watched him compete, do what he did for college wrestling. Not all those guys watch the UFC, so just watch his fan base come from that to there. I think it's good for the main event, man. Yeah, and it's good, man. You have a whole new fan base coming in, loving him just for being him and his accomplishments.
And he's got an army. He's paving the way for other wrestlers to make their transition.
Correct.
Penn Staters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got a lot of those guys who are transitioning to, to the Olympic level. And then some of those guys are going into MMA.
Better.
As well. So
from what I understand, when we were watching Matt Madness and the NCAA championships, wrestling championships, Daniel Cormier actually said on the Pat McAfee show a couple days after he went on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, spoke about the NCAA championships, spoke on Penn State's dominations. Penn State obviously had 4 national champions, 2 of which he said you will see in the UFC. 2 of the other ones are gonna try for Olympic wrestling. The other 2 you will see in mixed martial arts, and we'll see in the UFC shortly. So. I mean, I think Bo plays a big part of that. I mean, obviously, collegiate wrestlers have made the transition to MMA for a long time.
Sure.
But now you're getting, you're not just getting like D1, wrestlers. You're getting the top of the top. I mean, you're getting the best that the United States has to offer. U.S. wrestling, is really about to start showing out. Dagestan wrestling can go fuck itself.
Out of here.
Yeah, fuck that. Go home.
Well, now, boys, let's get on to where things start to get really interesting, boys. We got 4 bangers back to back to back to back. The second fight of the night, Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyen. Fellas, I can't tell you how excited I am for this fight. One, I'm a big Charles fan, so obviously, no matter what, I'm going to pick Charles. As eaten. The fact that he's even remotely the underdog in this fight is blowing my mind of the career that this man's had. And I texted the group chat the other day. I'm just going to leak this shit on the podcast too. I texted the group chat and I simply said, Charles Oliveira is going to beat Arman quickly, make a statement, come back, beat Islam, and go down as the greatest lightweight in the history of the sport.
He would do it. If he does that, he would do it for sure.
So I don't know about you guys. I'm picking Charles. I'm picking Charles by submission. I think he's going to sub him. And yeah, man, that's my choice for this fight. I don't even want to spend too much time on it because I'd spend way too much time on it if I could.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think him being an underdog is really just par for the course on his career. Sure. Right? I mean, how many of his fights has he been the underdog in? He has kind of a dangerous style, though. A lot of the times he gets knocked down first, and then guys enter these deep waters. They get into his guard thinking, oh, I got him hurt. And then 30 seconds later, you're tapping to a triangle choke or, to an arm triangle or, I mean, whatever, arm bar, anything. I mean, his jiu-jitsu is incredible. His striking, he's got power. He's got hands.
For sure.
This is a different level of competition for Arman. There's a couple gatekeepers in Gaethje and Charles Oliveira for the lightweight division that have been holding this top 5 down for a long time, and I don't see it changing here.
And Charles has beaten all of those guys.
That's what I mean. I mean, and how many times did we think, all right, this is the time, this is the guy that's going to beat Oliveira, and they had him hurt for a second, and then, like I said, next thing you know, they're tapping out.
They're tapping out. Yep. Charles is. I mean, his BJJ is the best in the UFC.
It's dangerous, man, and it's like he almost welcomes that little bit of chaos and the sprawls and the scrambles and stuff because. People, they don't understand how quick they get into really, really dangerous situations without even realizing it.
100%.
He takes some shots, right? And people think they got him hurt, like I said, and the next thing you know, it's over. But I mean, he's got the reach, he's got the height on this guy, on Arman. Another Georgian fighter, similar to Merab and Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyen, but yeah, I think the train for Arman Tsarukyen stops here. This is one of, if not the best lightweights in the world, and has been for a while now. So I got Oliveira by submission.
I'm riding with y'all, man. I think it's straight up disrespectful that he's the underdog in this fight. People have completely forgotten what this man can do. Like we said, almost every episode, all the time we talk, styles do win matchups, and like
for sure.
And I think this is going to be textbook of Charles beating the fucking shit out of this dude, man. I don't think it's like going to be as close as people think. I think Charles is going to make a statement with this one and silence everybody. I think the
big hype around Arman is the fact that he went the distance with Islam.
That's it. That's all they got, though, man. The rest is boring.
Yeah, and that was forever ago.
Yeah, right? Islam was still growing pubic hair then.
Yeah, here's the and to just like play the analytical side of it, when you look at the statistics on this matchup wise, there's not a single area that Arman is like significantly better than Charles. Yep. Significant strikes, pretty close. Actually, Charles has a little bit higher percentage in accuracy. Like grappling, maybe a slight advantage in takedown average per 15 minutes for Arman, but not by a whole lot. Takedown accuracy, Charles is better. Takedown defense, Arman's slightly better. I don't see, then you look at like kind of how they win. Charles has won 62% of his fights by submission. Yeah. Arman 24. Charles has half the average fight time that Arman has. Arman's average fight time is 12 minutes and 22 seconds compared to Charles's 6 minutes and 52. Charles averages more knockdowns. I mean, I don't think there's even in any area where Arman may have a slight advantage. It's a slight advantage, right? So it's pretty even. There's no one area that Arman is way better than Charles, and we've seen Charles fight, the absolute best in the world and beat everybody.
Agree.
I don't see the path to victory for Arman in this.
And Charles has a vengeance to be made, man. He needs that redemption fight. So, so I got Charles. Everybody else got Charles. We're 3 for 3.
Yeah, by submission, 1,000%.
To Bronx, son. Now let's get into the first title fight of the night. We had the baddest motherfucking person on the planet, BMF title shot, going from Justin Gaethje fighting Max Holloway, who's coming up a weight class to fight Justin Gaethje for the BMF title.
Crazy.
I hate that I even have to pick in this fight. I hate that I even have to watch one of these guys lose. This is by far one of the best put together fights that they did for UFC 300, in my opinion. Because everybody loves Justin Gaethje. He's coming off of a big win over Dustin Poirier. And then Max Holloway is just a massive fan favorite who has dominated the featherweight division for years outside of losing to Volkanovski. These two guys, man, and you give Max a chance to bulk up and fight at a new weight class for the first time. I hate that I even have to pick against these guys because I really do like both of these guys a lot.
Curious.
Gaethje, I feel like, has the slight advantage to finish Max simply because of the power and what Gaethje can produce. Max is just that good of a striker and a boxer. So it's like, I feel like that may, like when we say stylistic fights or that makes fights, that may honestly work against him in a fight against Justin Gaethje, because all it's going to take is one from Gaethje versus when he was fighting at featherweight. He could stand there and bang with these guys and outbox them and point them. But like, if you get close enough to Gaethje and he connects, or if he catches you, like that could put your lights out, man. It's like,
Max has never been finished in his career.
Never been. I know.
Yeah. You didn't officially make a pick yet, right?
I haven't. No. All
right. I'll give you mine, because this is the fight that I think we're going to see. Do you remember Gaethje versus Fiziev?
Fiziev, yeah.
Fiziev. If Gaethje versus Fiziev was a decision win for Justin Gaethje.
Correct.
Yeah.
But Gaethje beat him up. Started landing crazy uppercuts, but I mean, it was a battle. I mean, them boys.
First round was crazy.
It was a war. Yeah.
First round was wild, bro.
And we all picked Fiziev. I know.
I did.
We picked Fiziev to win that.
I think
Fiziev prospect.
I think that's the fight we're gonna see. I don't know, because now this is a 5-round fight, as opposed to 3.
Yeah.
But I think that's the fight we're gonna see. I don't know if he can finish Max. But I think nonetheless, it's going to be just an absolute war. It's going to live up to the BMF title the way it should. But yeah, Max has never been finished. I'm not going to pick him to get finished, but I do like Gaethje in the matchup. So I'm going to go Gaethje by decision, similar to the Fiziev fight. I think it's just going to be, I think eventually, Gaethje's going to start finding his chin. Gaethje's striking is very good too, and Gaethje, is an underrated wrestler that doesn't really utilize that skill set as much as maybe sometimes he should. And I don't think he's going to use it in this one either. I think they're going to bang, and I don't think the power that Max Holloway has that we've seen against some featherweights is going to transition too well up against arguably the number 2 ranked lightweight in the world.
Correct. Because
the guy that really,
if we're being serious here, Gaethje should be fighting for the title.
Correct. Yeah. I like Gaethje here by decision, by just an absolute war. That's how I think it goes.
Okay. Cool.
Nick?
Man, I'm actually going a little bit opposite of you guys, man. I dug deep into this one. This one was the hardest one for me to call, I think, out of all the fights on here. When you want both of them to win as well, too, it's like, what the fuck? But this one's tricky, man. Max Holloway does not get finished, right?
Never has been.
He doesn't, right? It's going to be a stand-up fight this whole time. I don't think Gaethje is going to utilize his wrestling. So who it's going to come down to who is in better shape, who has competed in more 5-round fights, who can survive 5-round fights. Max Holloway by decision, I think, man. So that's what I'm going with, man. I think he's going to outlast him, grind him. Gaethje's going to gas, and I see it happening, bro.
You think Gaethje tries to do it like a Trevor Peak and just start throwing wild haymakers and shit at the very end? Like,
yeah. All the break your wrist type shit.
You know what? Speaking of that, I know we watched him last night, but I was thinking, like, when are we ever going to be like, when is he ever going to get stopped or said, like, hey, bro, you're throwing hammer fists? They're like straight at the back of the head. Every single time he throws them, dude, he's going straight at the back of the head, dude.
Dude, you know how many punches in the back of the head we see all the time that nothing gets done about? Like, it's the most frequent rule that's broken all the time. Like, that's the most frequent illegal strike that's like never talked about, especially on the ground. Dudes get punched in the back of the head constantly, and the ref's just like, oh, watch the back of the head, and then he punches him in the back of the head 6 more times, and he's like, watch the back of the head. It's like
80% of grounded pounds head punches.
Yeah. Well, they cover up and just get hit in the back of the head.
Before I
so we're 1-1 right now. 1 for Gaethje by decision, 1 Max Holloway by decision. What do you got?
So I'm a firm believer in the clock, the UFC clock. It always makes its way back around. If you look at the history of these two guys, you go back in time, someone who has beaten someone has beaten the other.
Right.
I'm going Justin Gaethje by decision, simply because I think you got Max, who's fought Dustin, who lost to Dustin, who Justin has beat, who is just as good of a boxer in that heavier weight division as Max Holloway is in his respective division. I think Gaethje has the tools to get it done. I think Max is going to show out. I think he's going to represent himself well. Yeah. I just think Gaethje has gone to war with so many people who are just bigger, better, and more, tuned up in that division than Max has coming up. I think Gaethje's just the correct call if I was to put my money on it. Yeah. Do I think Max is going to show out? Absolutely. I think Max is going to prove a point of, I'm still the Max Holloway I am. Yeah. But I don't think neither one of these guys too. And I want everybody to think about this too. This fight right here doesn't mean shit. So if either one of these guys fuck around and do something to each other, they could potentially ruin opportunities for what's next for them.
I think it affects. It has more risk potential for Gaethje than it does for Holloway.
Yeah, because if Gaethje loses, if Gaethje gets hurt, anything, you fuck a title shot up,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it sounds like for some reason, and maybe just the timing of everything, and Gaethje taking this fight at UFC 300 instead of waiting for the title shot against Islam that he deserves. Like, for some reason, we're getting Dustin pushed as the title shot against Islam in June, which is fine. But, if Justin loses this fight, I mean, he's really out of that conversation. Like if Charles wins and Justin Gaethje loses, Dustin fights Islam in June. If Islam keeps that belt and beats Dustin Poirier, then you're going to get Charles Oliveira Islam at the end of the year. If Gaethje wins, I think you get Gaethje, or maybe you get Justin and Charles. I mean, I don't know. The risk potential for Gaethje is much higher than Holloway. Holloway's coming up a weight class to fight Justin Gaethje. If he loses, I don't think he really falls kind of anywhere in the featherweight division. I think you're still going to see a rematch between Ilia Topuria and Volk at featherweight anyway.
Yep, so I don't potentially set up Brian Ortega, Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, at the Sphere in September.
Yep. So, that was just my point. It's like, the implications of this fight for Gaethje are real because, I mean, let's be real here. Gaethje goes out there and surprisingly shocks the world, finishes Max Holloway in the first round, takes no damage at all. Boom. Now you have a quick turnaround in 3 months for a title shot against Islam. But Justin Gaethje goes 5 rounds against one of the fucking best boxers in the UFC, takes a lot of damage, potentially gets cuts that shouldn't be there. Now you're talking about potential injuries that delay him 6 months. Now you're running the risk of poor Dustin going in there and potentially beating Islam or losing to Islam, and then you're delayed even longer. So, there's a lot of key things that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about because they're just like, oh, look at this fight. It's Justin versus Max. It's great. It's the BMF. It's like, dude, no, like, one of these guys fucks around and like if Justin fucks around and fucks up, now he just ruined his chance at a title shot.
It significantly can alter a career for sure.
Absolutely. So,
but I will say, like, hats off to both of these guys for taking the opportunity and doing this fight. I mean, with all the risks that are involved, good for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And whenever these guys finish their career or even while they're in the career, we are big fans of both of you guys. So by all means, if you guys ever want to come on the show, we'd love to have you. So
absolutely.
And then our co-main of the event, boys, we're at our first official title shot of the night. We have Zhang Weili versus Yan. China versus China. This is huge for international fans. This is huge for the women's strawweight. This is just a big fight in general. I called this fight last year whenever Weili won and they had talks to potentially go to China. I said how massive it would be to have these two ladies face each other, but now we're getting to see it at 300. I mean, it's cream of the crop for the women's division. Both of these ladies are great fighters in their respect. I'm going to go ahead and just say my pick because, I mean, I think I know where I stand. I'm going to go with Weili by finish, and I think Weili's going to get it done, and I think she's going to get it done strongly. 5-round fights and women's fights are either going to be really boring or we're going to see like some shit happen. And I'm going to go Weili by finish.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think I think Weili's too dominant. I don't think Yan is quite at her level. Jan's most recent win is against Jessica Andrade, who we talked about earlier, obviously in the early prelim episode. And I just, that was Andrade has kind of fallen off a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know if that win is as impressive as it seemed like earlier. But yeah, I got Yan by finish, TKO or KO.
You got Yan by finish.
I mean, Zhang Weili. Sorry, Weili by finish, TKO or KO. Too much power in that little girl, man.
Too much power, man. I gotta ride with you guys on that one too. And this is nothing against Yan at all. She is number one contender, but I mean, yeah, this is a different level. Weili's a much better fighter, and she's not going to make us go 5 rounds, which is going to be great. This whole fight in general is way better. It's way bigger than MMA. This is fucking massive, dude. This is the whole entire fucking world is going to be watching this. Like, this is insane.
These aren't fake China people like Izzy. These are legitimate fighters from China.
Yeah. It's stupid.
But I think we all agree 3 for 3 on Weili. I hope this fight stays inside the distance.
It will.
For everyone that knows me, I'm a bet women's inside the distance type of guy. So sign me up for this one, boys.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Let's get it.
I like it.
Then here we go, boys. The main event of the evening. It's time to call it. We have Alex Pereira. Quite arguably could go down as one of the top 5 best fighters of all time if he gets this win and then keeps continuing to win belts. I mean, the guy has defeated all odds. He's came in, beat very creditable champions, and now he's in a predicament to solidify greatness by defending his belt. Not just once, but then he's going to defend it again and again and again, hopefully. But so Pereira, and then he's getting to fight Jamahal Hill, who's coming off of injury, coming back to reclaim his belt that he did have after beating Glover and after a long delay. Fellas, what do you think? What's your call on this one? I mean, I've had my mind made up since the jump of this card or this fight being announced, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts.
All right,
yeah. Go ahead.
I'll pop that cherry right in the butt crack real quick.
Pop it, dog.
All right. Consider it popped, man. If you look at both these guys' records, there's it's a big difference.
Consider it popped.
There's a big difference between a guy who's 10-0 over here and a guy who's 10-0 over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking Jamahal Hill at all, but I don't think he's fought the best competition. You know, he's lost against Paul Craig. Would I ever say in my life that Alex would ever lose to Paul Craig?
Yeah, well, he got hurt. So
he got hurt still. I mean, I mean, still at the end of the day, man, I don't think this guy he likes finishing people. You're not going to knock out who might be the best striker ever in the UFC. It's not going to happen. I know everyone's like, you got a puncher's chance. I don't see it happening at all. At all. I think Jamahal Hill's going to get fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Jamahal Hill's like most recent knockouts and wins, Vince St. Preux, Johnny Walker. I mean, he didn't finish Glover Teixeira. I don't know. I mean, Izzy obviously knocked out Alex. So there's, Alex is not superhuman in that sense. But that would be to assume that Jamahal Hill is on Izzy's level as far as striking, timing, and power. I think he probably could be as far as power goes. But just, technicality and the elite level, I think Alex is going to eat him alive. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
And, Jamahal Hill also is, the award winner for UFC's worst possible tattoo with the jailhouse thumbs up that he has. That looks like a third grader drew it on him. And Alex has a badass snake that's wrapped around his body. So if nothing else,
he wins that.
He's winning the tattoo battle.
Yeah, Alex is winning the tattoo battle, and he's definitely winning the fight. Yeah, I don't know. Jamahal Hill said he's not even going to grapple him. He said, I refuse to try to grapple him. I'm going to stand up and knock him out. And it's like, hopefully he's just talking shit, and that's not his actually legitimate strategy. But yeah, I got Pereira by KO TKO.
Yeah, man. He'd probably try to grapple him. He's trying to throw us off. He's going to be forced to.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to give a little fun fact for the podcast. If you've made it this far, again, like and subscribe. We appreciate all our supporters. We've been grinding this shit since last year. We started this podcast in January of 2023. And our very, very first episode, we covered Jamahal Hill versus Glover Teixeira. And guess what? Jamahal Hill has not fought in the UFC since our very first episode. We are coming up on a year and a half of recording episodes.
Almost 70
Jamahal
episodes
Hill has
in.
not fought. Another fun fact: Alex Pereira has not only fought once, not only fought twice, but 3 times in that span.
Yeah, and in 2 different divisions.
In 2 different divisions and won 2 different belts.
Yeah.
So, come on, boys.
Levels to this.
People who are saying like, yeah, I get it. Everyone has a fighter's chance, sure, but like, if we're being honest here, Pereira is just it's. If Jamahal Hill's playing possum right now, he's just sitting there like, I'm gonna win. People are underestimating my boxing. Blah,
he
blah,
might
blah.
be that stupid. He might actually be that stupid.
You're all good until you catch a fucking right hook from Pereira. Like, let's be real here, boys. That shit's put out the best of the best.
I think that fucking lead leg kick drops his ass.
Oh, his legs are gonna be chopped up.
Yeah, calf kick all day.
That calf kick drops him. I don't. Yeah, this is.
And
a good
I don't
event.
hate Jamahal Hill, man. Like, I don't want people to think that we're just big fans of Pereira. Like, I never hated Jamahal Hill. I just don't. I don't like guys who are out there saying that like there's a big difference in people thinking that Jamahal Hill is going to beat Pereira easily versus people who have common sense and can look here and see like, dude, the leg kicks have always made a difference in every single fight that Pereira's had. And there's going to be no different in this one, man. He's going to chop Jamahal Hill down. Jamahal Hill's going to have to get in there and fight with a guy who is one uppercut, one right hook, one anything from putting you on the canvas. And if Alex Pereira was smart, he obviously would keep him from a distance. He would just leg kick, and spam him until Jamahal Hill's chubby legs just get fucking chopped off like fucking chicken bones. But I mean, I don't fucking know what else to say, man. I don't know what else to say, dude. Pereira by whatever. Let's fucking lock it in, boys. UFC 300 is here. We're 6 days away from this shit. We're we're booming on social media. The YouTube's about to hit 2K followers. We got almost 1,000 on Instagram. We're live streaming. We'll be doing a live stream of this fight companion during UFC 300. So make sure you stop in. This could be potentially be massive for us. Our last one, we had a consistent average of 100 plus viewers. So we're looking to even break that and maybe potentially past 500 viewers. Who knows? You know, the sky's the limit. But fellas, it's it. We're here. We're locked in. All of our picks are in this video. So if you want to go back and watch all of our picks, make sure you tune into the previous 2 videos, prelims and early prelims. And yeah, that's it. Anybody else got anything? I'm down to lock it in, call it a wraps, and go grab my case of Miller Lite. And, you know, it's some Jim Miller time, baby.
Yeah,
Jim
man,
Miller
absolutely.
time.
I'm just excited. 6 days. By the time these episodes will come out, you know, I don't know when we're going to put them out, be this week at some time, but UFC 300 it'll be the night before we know it, man. I'm just so excited. It's like Christmas morning for UFC fans. Best card of all time. I don't think anything comes close. I'm not upset anymore about main events. I don't care about what everybody else on social media is bitching and complaining about. Shut the fuck up. You know, you're going to watch it anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you don't buy it and you actually stream this one, you're an idiot.
Yeah. If you're going to buy any pay-per-view, this is the one. Yeah.
Absolutely,
come on now,
man.
So, all right, boys. Well, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Make sure you don't forget to like and subscribe to everything. We got tons of fight interviews coming up. Bada bing, bada boom. Sugma, UFC 300, Over the Octagon, baby. We're in this thing. We'll catch you guys on the next episode for the recap of 300. Holla.
Peace.